So the great thing about this movie, for me, and we're all complaining about how there are not enough movies for women, about real women.
Right.
And this really is about somebody that I could identify with.
That's great.
Even if you're a very exaggerated version of what we are willing to say, because I think stand-up comedians are very brave.
Oh, well, it's in my, I would say it's really in my nature to perform. I don't do stand-up, exactly the way that Donna, my character, does, because I'm much more aware of what doesn't serve me. I think Donna learns throughout the film what serves her in storytelling, and even in just communication. Like she has to go kind of from being passive and sort of a more raw version of herself to really much more active, and to use her nature to her best benefit. But what I do share with Donna is the urge to perform, and I think when you have it, it's much more scary to not have a stage to be on than to be on one.
Well, it made me think a little bit, God forbid, of Louis C.K. in the sense that the more honest and more authentic you are, the better. Mm-hmm. And I think that this movie is almost a communication of that for you and the filmmaker. The example being that it's independent. You don't have anybody telling you what to do.
Yeah. Yes, I think you're right. I think honesty is the baseline, though, or the bottom level. That's honesty is has to be the starting point.
Right.
Honesty is not the goal, but should, for me, or for a film, but is the starting point, and then you build from there. Is what I think. But
in other words, building from there would be richness, layering. Mm-hmm. Making it interesting and fun.
Yeah, all of the nuances that I think make our film gentle but strong are built off of the honest intent for us to create something funny. Mm-hmm. That's number one. To create something thoughtful and funny and useful. That's what we tried to do. With this film. But then, even though Donna is on stage talking about her butthole and other stuff that people might think is uncouth, to me, there's a lot of nuance there, because she's not trying to be shocking. She's trying to connect. She's trying to delight, and she is.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, she is. It's just an unlikely sort of mantle for her to wear, but it's real. And I think it matches in general with the assertion that our film makes, which is that you might think that this story or this subject matter is absolutely gigantic and unspeakable, or you have to speak about it while looking to each side to make sure everything's okay. But the fact is, if you come at it from an honest point of view, you can talk about anything.
Well, the other aspect of that is that there's no reason why it should be that way.
Yeah.
And many, many, many women every year go through this.
Yeah.
It's rather standard
right.
operating procedure, unfortunately. We don't get to talk about it because there's this huge cloud around it. This prohibition.
Or, if we speak about it, and I said this, when I was being interviewed by a woman for the New York Times, but I realized when we were making this movie that I have felt for a long time that because my rights as a woman are under attack and my reproductive rights are under attack in our country right now, that I have to be really militant and say, I feel this way and it's not complicated and done, and I am impervious to everything and I'm not vulnerable. And I started to think, that sucks, because I am a vulnerable person, and I like that I am. And I'm interested in my experiences as they're going on, even the bad ones. And I'm not fighting just for the right to have my rights, but my right for a complex experience in those rights. With those rights, will I decide what's, right for me? A lot of saying right there, but
a little bit about how you and the filmmaker, Gillian Robespierre, how did you put this together? What was the kind of working development of the script, for example?
Well, Gillian wrote the short film in 2009 with her two friends, Karen Main and Anna Bean, and the script was already written for the short of Obvious Child, and then they met me while I was doing stand-up. So we did that, and then Gillian eventually met our producer, Elizabeth Holm, and they worked on the script, and they were really the people that expanded and made those decisions, you know, to turn Donna into a stand-up comedian and to give her these parents who are divorced but still are communicative, and to really only give her two friends and a small life. And I think when I came...
So they were tailoring it for you, though.
Yeah, they wrote it for me. Yeah. So I was very comfortable with the script by the time we got to the shoot. And the tone was very clear because Gillian is a wonderful writer. And the tone was sort of natural and kind of vernacular without being, I don't know, without saying like obs and totes, stuff like that all the time. And I really liked that. I don't know, it was easy for me to slide right back in after being apart from the character for a while because she's so clearly written.
No, it was really fun. Talk about shooting that great drunken sex scene with your boyfriend in the movie, or your would-be.
Yeah, my sex partner. Yeah, it was really fun, honestly.
It looks like it.
Yeah, I love dancing. And I felt really protected because I'm not super open with my body. Like, I'm not the gal that's always walking around in her underwear in front of her friends. I wish I could be that way, but I'm just a little shy, which is fine. My best friend is, like, constantly trying to get me, my best gal pal, trying to get me to go to, like, the naked spa with her. And she's just like, you just got to break those boundaries. And I just can't. I don't know why. I'm really trying to figure it out. But, so it was a little bit... You know, it's not my way to be in my underwear, especially in front of a boy that, isn't my husband. But it was very fun. And very safe because, it is another woman telling me what to do. And I like that because I felt at once really sexualized in a cool way, but not objectified at all.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
It felt really good.
Well, I guess where I was going at the beginning was the idea that being a stand-up comedian does make you braver, but maybe what I mean is that it makes you stronger or more resilient or more able to sort of take chances because you're living and dying every time you go out there.
It does, for me, create a lot of faith in other people because I am not going up there doing a club act. I'm telling stories about my childhood, about my sexual development, and I have to believe that people are kind enough and open enough to hear that stuff. And I get excited to do it because I think as a person I can get lonely really easily, and I think it does take some bravery, sure, and I get stage fright. I get nervous a little bit because that's just what happens. But I think it creates a lot of faith. I don't know.
That's interesting. That you would trust the audience as opposed to being afraid of them?
I'm flinging myself on them.
Yeah.
So I am afraid of them a bit.
It's like throwing yourself off the stage and being caught?
Yeah, I think so. But it's also, on my end... I know that what I'm bringing, although I have a deep need to be watched and to be seen and heard, because that's just part of who I am, that I care about what I put out, and I take great pains to make sure that it is entertaining and hopefully refreshing and, most importantly, like, not masturbatory. I need it. I need to be able to put it out, but... I want people to walk away feeling that they got the entertainment that they needed. if you're just up there talking about yourself and it's not interesting, you're an asshole.
All right, so maybe the question that I'm bringing up too is the idea that if you're able to do that in a very free and unrestricted context, perhaps what you went through on Saturday Night Live was an example of having to mediate that through a system, and that wasn't as easy to do as you might have thought, and that this movie, this independent film, was in a way closer to where you and the filmmaker have more control over the material.
Yeah, it's hard, especially when you're young and you're starting your career and your career is comedy, to feel I think I erroneously assumed that I should be good at all kinds of comedy if I was going to do it. And
so how old were you?
27.
So now, then?
But then? I was 27. And when I started on SNL, and I just could not come to terms with the fact that maybe the way that I create was not a perfect match for the system that is the creative system at SNL, especially since it had been a life's goal, and I just was so stubborn and I couldn't understand why I just kept feeling like I was trying to jam myself into a thing that I didn't fit into. And it just didn't fit, I don't, at the time I thought I'm not good enough, but I think it's way more complex than that, because I am good at comedy, but only the comedy that I'm good at.
Exactly.
I don't know, like really good singers don't have to be opera singers. You're not supposed to be good at all mediums of your art, and it was great for me to do this film because it was all of I brought so much of what I can do to a contained space. And what was tough for me at SNL was that I loved the community and I loved the people and they were very nice to me, but I felt that I didn't serve them and I was embarrassed of that. And I get lonely and I like to be part of a community and I want to be an important member of a community. So for our movie to be an important member of that community and to bring all of my things, my dramatic acting, my stand-up, my comedic timing to just scene work, and to be an important part of the community was incredibly moving and incredibly important to me.
So you felt comfortable and safe while you were shooting the film. I was curious to know how you felt when you first showed it at Sundance.
I felt real safe making the film, but making a movie is totally different than screening it. And I think I stood behind it, but I just had never seen myself watched by a group of people for so long, especially before, I'd been to the premiere of, the Kroll show, but I'm just in little bits and pieces of that, and, it's really all Nick. And so I was nervous and really shaky and a little bit nauseous, but then the second that people started to laugh, I was like, ooh, I don't know, I felt so good. I felt really excited. I don't know how to describe how good I felt, because I felt good in a million different ways. The future suddenly seemed very unknown. Maybe somebody will buy this movie. Maybe more people will see it. Maybe I'll get to travel with it. All of those things.
And maybe you'll get more work as a result of it.
Yeah, which is a thought that comes in, and then you're like, don't, calm down. But then it really, for me, turned into, if I do get more work, I think I'll be able to do it. Which I didn't know before. I'd never done any dramatic acting before, but I thought that I could do it. I just didn't know. And now I'm just like, what else can I do?
What's coming up?
Well, I've wrapped it, but I have a new show coming out on FX on July 21st. It'll be out. It's called Married, and it stars Judy Greer, Nat Faxon, me, Brett Gelman, John Hodgman, and my husband is played by Paul Reiser.
What a great cast.
Yeah. It's so good. And it's fairly dark. My character is married to someone her father's age, and she really can't get her shit together. And she's trying. And their relationship is, very weird, but very interesting. Yeah. And I have a new Marcel the Shell picture book coming out with my husband in November. And hopefully I'll start to make more movies too. We'll see.
That's fantastic. What is your theory as to why this sort of disconnect exists between what the culture really is? Like Zero Dark 30, and you see Jessica Chastain, and she's working, and her identity doesn't have anything to do with a man, and everybody's really freaked out when they watch this movie and threatened by this, woman who exists in real life.
Yeah.
It's not like she doesn't exist.
Right.
There's like a stronger, smarter, more varied version of whatever it is we're shown in the culture in real life.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know because I'm not afraid of this narrative. Clearly, I'm in the film. But, I don't know. I don't know why it's this genre, at least.
Well, independent films are able to do whatever they
Yeah,
want.
but the genre of the rom-com.
Right.
Is
in particular trouble.
Yeah, it is because, I think people have somehow been trained to think that if they're going to see romance, it has to be between two perfect people. And really, what usually is so attractive about the romance in good rom-coms is that the people are delightful. Billy Crystal is delightful in When Harry Met Sally. He is full of personality, and I don't know why we lost that, but I'm happy to bring it back if I can.
Thank you.
Thanks.